The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marina Sprocki, and I'm the host of Always Another Way podcast. I have a master's in professional counseling, and I'm the IPPY award-winning author of Stop Looking for a Husband, Find the Love of Your Life, and Nasty Divorce, A Kid's Eye View. I've written positive divorce advice for the HuffPost, and I'm trained in clinical hypnosis. And this podcast speaks to out-of-the-box thinkers, and it's for those who hear the call of hope and always another way. And if you're very rigid and set in your beliefs, this is probably not your cup of tea. However, you should note, tastes can and do change. And welcome, everybody. I wanted to say, welcome to New York. It's Saturday night, even though it's like Thursday afternoon. But I've always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. Maybe. Sometime. I don't know. But anyways, this is the COVID area time of the world. When people listen to this, like, years later, they'll be like, remember that time we were wearing all these masks and at home and stuff like that? So I'm going to just straight bring in my guest. This is episode 101 of the Always Another Way podcast. So Sean Beiersdorfer, right?
Wow, perfect.
Yeah, I think I heard you say that the other day and I copied it. Has been practicing yoga and meditation since 2015 and music percussion for over 20 years. And this is his quote: "Each moment I get to clash my passions and meditate in music, whether listening or playing and keeping focus and attention on one point, time or groove, I find new ways to open my mind as well as ways of reaching others to bypass their own barriers." Sean teaches all over Dallas, well, in normal times. He's on the virtual now. So like Breathe-Uptown, Dallas Yoga Center, V12, formerly the Refuge.
R.I.P.
It will be coming back, my favorite meditation place. But it'll be something else soon. And he does School of Rock and private lessons for kids. He primarily practices ashtanga. Sean travels to New York City, which is his hometown, to practice and learn from and with many different teachers to help hone his craft. And today we are going to talk about his journey, tips, and different things to stay safe, sane, and have some fun during COVID. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, thank you so much, Marina, for having me.
I'm so happy to have you.
This is super cool. I know. I feel like we are on Saturday Night Live. We're like the newscasters right now.
I know, and I'm like, so. What kind of voice can I do today?
I know. We'll have the boxes come up and we'll just start shooting on them. But no, thank you so much for having me, and beautiful intro. And yeah, it's crazy times. We were talking right before we went live, and I feel like I was picking up some momentum and steam in teaching world and classes and stuff like that. And when I say that, then I'm like, well, what does that even mean? Like, were you on the fast track to being like the top teacher? Like, that doesn't really make any sense type of thing.
Or just you were grooving more with people.
I think that's really what I mean by it. Yeah, it's not that like, oh, everyone's coming to my class and I have the best class. It's never like that. It's
the non-rapey Bikram.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, I think just the connection, and more people are getting into it. They're getting into wellness. They're getting into themselves, and that's something that I love to help people is to get into. And I've worked at Neiman Marcus before, so helping people fit into clothes is not really my forte as much as it is helping people fit into themselves, rather. So yeah, it's been a little different teaching virtually, but still staying connected, and I still get to see a lot of people. You know, I still am missing a lot of people as well. So.
I know. I was so jazzed to see your face live,
Same.
see Ziggy's face live. I'm like, oh, people.
I don't even know Ziggy. It's great to see his face live. So, yeah, air hugs. So,
well, tell us like just a little bit about kind of like a little bit about your journey up to here, and then we'll talk about something else. We'll move into the COVID stuff.
Yeah, we won't go too far back. As you stated, 2015 is when I started to get into my journey. I still had a lot of stuff backpacked on, of grief and stuff like that. I never really had any like crazy traumas or tragedies, but maybe I have, and I just didn't.
Everybody
look at
gets
it
a
that
little
way.
something out of life.
You're right.
A
Yeah.
little something,
Yeah.
bumps and bruises. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like, a close one's death or just something like, again, just something super tragic that's like, oh, I need to change. That never really happened. I think it was like a years and years of like different, maybe traumatic accidents, because I did have some gnarly car accidents actually.
Well, and trauma could be too. Like you could be bullied when you were young. That's
Yeah.
a trauma. You can grow up, parents are alcoholics. Like trauma is a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
I think
We all have our things.
sometimes
too
people think trauma
short.
things has to be like major. They're like, nothing major happened to me, but
Right.
but your brain doesn't know. Like major could be like you were bullied in the 6th grade, and that could change your brain just as bad as somebody that is watched somebody be murdered.
Yeah.
Even though those are like categorically very different things, they're still trauma to the brain.
And that's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Because I think you're right. I think there's
So don't
still...
discount this stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to like make you dig deep and be like, I got all this crap, but you know.
No, mine was more so just self stuff. Like, this is one thing that I've totally noticed just through meditation in my own practice is that I was so sheltered as a kid. I didn't drink my first beer until 18 or graduation. So,
Well, that's good.
It is really good, but I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I can't.
That's good, trust
I
me.
can't. I can't like stress because obviously, if I was a parent, I would act the same way and be like, no, you can't do that. Like, I want to protect you and stuff like that. But I think just like anything where people get neglected, there's underprotection. There's also that overprotection.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think due to this overprotection of, I maybe went to 1 or 2 parties in high school and. I don't know. Maybe that was because I wasn't allowed, or maybe I just felt very closed in type of thing. And so I think when 18 and 19 and 20s came, then I started to see freedom without really knowing what freedom was, because I was
And you
just,
went for it.
I was like all the eagles flying to freedom, but in not a great way, because then there was all this stuff that had discovered weed and all the drugs and stuff. And again, it was never super crazy. It was never a super bad addict, but just enough times to add up to where it's like, okay, I've written letters to myself, messed up before and things like that. And, so that stuff counts, especially when you're in the moment and you're having such a great time, but then there comes a time where you have to lay down or you have to be with yourself, by yourself. And that's when it really gets hard to, accept. If you're not treating yourself internally right, or your body or your mind right, then it's going to ask you questions, and it's your choice to become aware and don't care, or to really start to make a change in the awareness.
Right. So let's keep diving that way. So has there ever been like a time in your life where you're just like, all right, everything sucks. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think it was a short time before I found yoga. And I just remember like kind of making that decision of, all right, I don't like bartending, and band stuff was over, and band stuff was my life for a long time. And, it was like it was relationships. It was like having 5 girlfriends and who you really loved, but also you really didn't love at certain times. You love more than others at certain times. And so I just remember, it's like when one person would want to leave or quit because things weren't happy, I would be the person that's like, well, how can I make it better? How can I make it happy? But that's not really how you fix things. It is in a way, you have to want to, but it was more so like just everyone was on such a different page of how they wanted the music and the songs and all that jazz. And so being at work, I did actually have a really supportive team at a restaurant I worked at that was like, you're so creative, and you could cut hair, you could teach music, like you could still be a musician. So I really had people behind me when I was still making better decisions, but still, not fully making the transformation of like the changes, still going out and still making some bad decisions. So I think physical injuries from working out, that was the other thing I love to do. So I think personal training was one thing that was like, I love to work out, and you could do that, and that way you would learn yourself, and then you could help people learn. So I think that was
and stay in shape at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm very. I think there's something about that too. There's something I don't want to say narcissistic, but there's something that's ingrained for me to where it's like, your body look good, look healthy. And now that's what I'm trying to say myself, rather than look good. It's just, hey, just be healthy. Just keep your body healthy, and it will be present for you. So.
Okay, that makes me want to ask a side question here.
Yeah,
you're
please.
A dude. Because I know women are like, but we forget, or because I just forget that like are completely inundated with body image things from like the time that you're young. And even I've never had a personal eating disorder, but I've had disordered eating at times for sure.
Okay.
And the way I look at things for myself, not at other people, but myself. And I wonder too, like for men, like, because I know what they show in girls, like got the, you just look like you look, the bikini, but what do they do? I assume it's got to do the same thing for men too. Not everybody looks like whatever models are on either side.
Right.
Like physically impossible for a million reasons.
Right. And I think in my case, I was always the small, just short, skinny, like really skinny type of guy. So, I think for me, it's always been that I need to prove something, like underdog type of feel.
And was it more, do you think, like, did you feel that external pressure, or were some of it real, or was it a lot yourself,
I felt it, which now that I think about it, it was, people make fun of people because of their own insecurities. So
Sure.
I noticed that big kid was probably a chunky kid and got made fun of by someone else. So that's why he would, pat my head and make me feel like a small guy or something like that type of thing. So, but in the moment you don't think that. You're just like,
When
there's
you're a
this
kid
big,
and somebody's-
powerful kid and I'm not, So, I think just from, I was always friendly though. And I always had this I'm an empath, so it's like even when that kid would make fun of me, if I would later see that kid cry, I would like be sad for that kid, so it's like I would always make friends because of course I got in fights and I would get mad because it doesn't feel good, but I would always more so just be like, let's just be friends, stop picking on me type of thing.
Okay, and that's another thing that I've heard this from other guys. Is fighting like a thing, like from high school and stuff? Do a lot of guys just get in fights? Like, is that how it goes down?
I think it depends on household, honestly. I've read a lot of...
Because I had a friend of mine, they're like, everybody's always fighting. I'm like, really? Like...
I guess it does just depend on household. I hear a lot about that from... I only have one sister, and I mean, we fought, but we didn't like...
No, but I mean, like, brawl other people in high school and stuff, too. Like, not necessarily, like, in your family, but just, like, do people get in brawls a lot? Like, just figuring stuff out in high school? Or
Again,
no?
I think... I think it's two things, maybe. And again, I don't have any school training, but this is just me jazzing. I think it's one of two things. I think it's family household, and it's either you have those dominant parents that are be tough or be prey type of thing, so they grow up kind of. That's just ingrained in them. You know, you didn't do it right, so they get slapped in the face or behind the head or something. So when they're working with someone in school and they don't do it right, then that's their way of being like, hey, what, you messed up, or again, just fearful, being scared and being that overpowerful thing, because we can sense energy, you know what I mean? And whether or not it's like a physical sense of, oh, I'm bigger than this kid, so I'm gonna bully him because that's how I grew up, and that makes me feel proud. It makes me feel like I can make my dad proud because I'm tough, or whoever it is type of thing. And the other thing I think it is just peer pressure of, being a guy like me being like, no, let's just be friends type of thing. And then the other guy in the background being like, no, pussy, fight. Yeah. And then it's like, well, shit, I don't want to be, that. Yeah. So type of thing. So I think it's those two things of being kind of pressured into it by other kids or family, you know, because even my family has said that. My sister, I think, it's like, well, as long as you don't lose, it's fine. And it's like, that's like the worst thing you can say to somebody. So, so what? I can't come home if I lose, you know. So it's, yeah, I think it's just. I think it's overload of feelings that they can't express maybe to their families because they've been taught like, no, tough it out or walk it off. But I think that's like our parents' generation, you know. I don't think that's my
How old are you?
35.
Okay. I never know how old people are.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm younger. And
That's what I'm saying. Anyone I'm with, I'm always like, yeah, is it our generation? I don't know. I'm just, because we're talking and
I'll be your generation.
we're on the same page, so it makes it easy to think that we were in the same generation.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll dive back up to this. So like everybody's got like, you know, coping skills that you learn or don't learn, depending on, because nobody gets to pick their parents, so you get what you get. But then now we're all thrown into like everybody collectively this. So we're just going to squeak on by to the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
So what did you think, like, at the very beginning, you know, when this first started happening, you know, when we call it, like, early March, we start hearing this stuff, and it's a little bit like maybe. It's like, take me through your beginning thought process of that, like.
Man, well, first off, you're listening or watching, I'm very, very optimistic, and I trust very, very much within myself.
Yeah.
That doesn't say that I don't listen to things or watch things, but I try not to be engulfed by it. So I don't know. I was just trying to, maybe it was a little bit of avoidance, but maybe it was more so just like, no, this is just being blown out of proportion. I think just like kind of like a few different people would say like, oh, this is blown out of proportion, we'll be fine type of thing. And then it started to really set in, you know, about like, well, no, this many people are sick and it's coming and like we have to lock down and all this stuff. So I don't know. There's a mixture of like good and bad days that I kind of had in between there because my family has always been so dramatic with things, you know? And so this is something I've been thinking about lately is that I've always been sometimes confused with how to act. There was one point where, not to get too off topic, but there's one point where like, you know, something happened. I don't remember what it was, but something happened and like, I thought it was like a big thing and like people were talking about it. And then like I got picked up from school and my mom was bitching because like they interrupted her soaps.
Yeah.
So I guess I was like, oh, I guess it's not a big thing. And then again, just confused and just being a dumb teenager, like 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And so I was in high school, a sophomore, and me and my friend got picked up by my mom. And so like getting in the car, you know, again, dumb teenager, I'm like, watch this, Derek. My mom's going to be pissed because her soaps got, you know, interrupted, thinking it was like last time. And so I said that to her and she got so mad to tears to where she was like, I can't believe you would joke about that. It's New York. And that's, you know, and so like, she made me feel really bad. But again, it's like, well, if you didn't like freak out though over everything, then I would know better how to, but also that was probably just me being a dumb
Well, also when you're like a teenager, like, you know.
Yeah. So I just think learning how to act, like learning how to react in a way that's, you know, you can be bubbling up inside, but not letting the people you care about see you sweat is like a big growing and learning process, you know, because again, there were some things I didn't know which situation were big or small and how to react big or small in situations sometimes. Like if somebody dies, like I don't really get hit. That was the main point of why I came here is like, I don't get hit right away to where it's just like, oh my God, like tears and all this stuff. Like it takes me a minute to like go through stuff and kind of like figure stuff out and ask that question of like, is there something wrong with me because I'm not reacting right now with emotions, even though I'm feeling this. Yeah. So throughout it, you know, I had my breakthroughs and breakdowns of when I would chat with people, and I would have those moments then, like, I guess by myself or in certain times, maybe talking to a friend on text about like, well, yeah, wait a minute. You know, the things that I really do love, I guess, started to really speak to me internally, and it's like, hey, you're not going to see these people, you're not going to get to go to these places, and like, so with that, then I started to get a little bit of like the anxiety and sadness and stuff like that. But just having a community to, right off the bat, Uptown Yoga was, not to say take this away from any other studios, because every studio has been amazing, even the ones that I don't teach at, or have taught at and don't teach at anymore. But Uptown jumped right on it, and right before the lockdown, we recorded a bunch of content, so that's how we got through there. And then like a week later, V12 and Dallas Yoga Center was setting up IG and like Zoom, and then Breathe was doing the online content and stuff like that. I was doing stuff for Refuge on IG, so it's like we took like a step back, but then everyone really started to rise up for themselves or their business or their communities or whatever they needed to do.
Yeah. And that's in that up and down stuff. Like, I think everybody's doing that because uncertainty, that's what it does to the brain, is you're like,
Yeah.
And I've had very many like good and then like, and then not getting ready. And then, okay, and I got kids to like reel it in together too. And I don't know if I'm like you too. And I mean, I'm a therapist, but I don't know this stuff. But of the, like when you say like, what's the avoidance and whatnot, because I am also too like a very optimistic person. I was in New York September 11th.
Wow.
And the whole time, I mean, every like, not saying I've been in tons of tragedies, but like very many like super close calls. I'm always like, things are fine.
Yeah.
Like we are going to be fine. Like my mind just has to go there.
Me too.
And I can't change it. I mean, like bad things are happening. I'm like, we're falling off a cliff, but we're gonna be totally fine. We're gonna be totally fine when we land.
We're still breathing. We're fine. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Me too.
But then I see the like, but then when I start seeing more stuff, and I don't watch the news like by conscious choice. You know, I would rather read something, or I feel like if it's shit's on fire, like somebody's gonna tell me. You know, and not to be ignorant, but just there's like you can find conflicting information every freaking second.
Yeah. So why not, I don't know if this is a question, but why not just, keep in mind what's happening, but still read what you enjoy and do what you love to do. And I've found a new passion within my drum playing because, again, I didn't have time to do this before, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's initially like a process. Like I had to literally sit at home, go through my ups and downs, do my practice, talk shit about my practice because it wasn't good enough. But no, and then keep going and then just getting into it. And I don't know how to explain it. I guess I've stopped trying to be something or like make something, and I'm just really trying to learn and like grow, as if it's like, okay, the hardest thing for me right now is patience, and I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people. I have patience in I have patience in a lot of aspects of my life, but drumming is not one of them. I want to sit down and I want to be fucking awesome, and I want to just have the shit down already. And that's just not true. I need more work. I need more patience in singing stuff as I play it. I need more patience in just learning my techniques and learning dynamics. And I know what I need to learn, but I need the patience and time to do it. And now I have that. And when stuff gets better, which I know it will, then I want to keep that time, and I want to keep making time for more stuff that makes me happy. So it's been a weird time, but it's been such a time for me to like not want to do anything, but also be like, what's stopping me from doing everything? Like going back to school and being a professional musician and being a top-notch teacher, which I think I'm all of those, but
it is that circle. And I think, and somebody wrote a thing too, like collectively everybody, they're like, why does everybody finding it so hard to do like just normal stuff or that? It's that uncertainty that puts our brain in this like little stuff. But I don't know if you find this where I like find a little flow for a second and be like, yeah, and then
right.
And then flow.
And we have to just be with ourselves that whole time and just like, it's okay. I don't feel like doing this today. Because I think that's part of the process, there'll be times where maybe you say that, and then maybe you should just get on your mat a little bit and do a little bit of work, or just get behind whatever it is. I'm just saying me personally, but get behind your drums and
Yeah.
just
So what have
play
you?
a
Yeah.
little
What have
bit.
you done to kind of make this? Make it better for you in times when you're just like, how do you kind of keep yourself with a little bit of that, like the sanity? Yeah.
Within the first week, my ashtanga practice, it was hard because I wasn't getting on Zoom. And if you don't practice ashtanga, it's just a set series, and you have the postures, and it's intense, to say the least. And so that would weigh heavy on me, both. I got to get through this hard ass practice, and then not doing it, then that would weigh heavy on me. Like, fuck, I didn't do that today. And that's like my practice. And then that means something to me, type of thing. So of course there's always going to be the two voices back and forth, but you really can see what you truly love when you don't want to do something and then you start to do it. And then it starts to really be like, why the fuck didn't I feel this like when I started? Like, I love this, and it's the same thing. I have just a love for talking and having these kind of conversations that are meaningful and mindful and that can help people, because I don't feel like I'm having a few of them or a lot of them lately.
No.
So
This will do it too. This will do it too. Can't say yes. Let's see what it.
yeah, and as funny as it sounds, I think those intuitive things that I need to work on, like whether it's handstand practice or, my ankles are not the best. So I know ankle mobility for me, I spent a good week on just doing different stuff each day. And I felt different things in my knees, and different isn't bad.
Yeah.
But I did start to freak out because I was like, I don't know, this feels weird.
Yeah.
Not so much painful, but not good. And ever since then, I think I've had new strength and just more mobility, like within my playing, because you use a lot of feet and ankle stuff.
Right.
And within the Ashtanga practice, there's a lot of stuff that you have to really be grounded in. And when there's something lacking, like a physical deficiency or muscles, something, it makes things really hard. But when everything is working and strengthening together, it makes things really fucking easy, so to speak. It's not easy, but it makes everything easier in a sense that like everything's working. I'm not like busting something out too much on one side or overusing something, and it's I don't know. So I've been using my time to explore and discover, as well as sleep and be sad. So I think just like anything, there's a balance, and always just kind of having that mindset of like, all right, what'd you do today? Take it easy. How do you feel? Even if you have done a lot, I could maybe do some stuff, or, because you can learn and grow all different ways about reading, about stuff that you want to know about, and things like that. So
Yeah. So what do you think of like all the stuff that's now changed, because everything's gone like a lot of just online stuff? What things do you think we should like keep from this, or what would be good to keep? And then what things do you think like, or even that you've noticed, like, I mean, I know we're not all hanging out, but if you've just noticed around people, like what things have you noticed that you're like, wow, that's really good? Or even just globally in general, what has the COVID brought to your eyes?
what I definitely think we should keep is just people driving around neighborhoods with signs, honking and cheering, just for no reason. Why? Because we're happy and because we can, and it's sunny out, and maybe I'm just crazy, but I do love that, and I know they're doing that because we can't be all together. But I think that's super cool. You can still go to hospitals and do that, even if you don't know anyone in the hospital. You can do that when it's okay to go outside and have a sign saying "Get well." I might do that myself, 'cause that sounds cool. As far as the online stuff, teaching wise, I think maybe for a little while it'll be half and half. Like, we can get back into the studio, and people who want to come will come, and people who want to stay home can still do the Zoom class live. So it'll still be a little different teaching. But I think after a while, all the computer stuff will probably go away, just because, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the content will still be there, but I think the people wanting to get online and stay in their house to practice is going to go away once, hopefully, everything is pretty clear outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to think about that a little more, and I'll come back.
Think about
come
this.
back with you.
So now, I guess what I wanted to ask you is, computer just loves to go off. So, what would you say if you could go back to your 10-year-old self and say, like, here's a tip or 3?
My 10-year-old self, to trust more, like myself and I guess other people, because I think that went out the window shortly after, and I think as a kid especially, you feel like you get burned once or twice, and then it's like there comes a time to where then you just kind of shut that part off of like forgiveness, I guess, or
A little jaded.
Yeah, where you think every situation is going to turn out like that one situation type of thing. So to keep an open mind, to be strong, because we definitely grew to be strong. So yeah, 10-year-old self was cool. To be strong, to trust more, and to just listen to yourself, because I think especially as kids, we have the answers, but we listen to every other thing going on outside, from teachers to parents to kids, because for some reason, for me, I thought other people knew more than I did. I don't know why we think that.
Well, you're a kid and you just do.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess, yeah.
Authority figures, like everybody goes up, Mom and Dad, they know it all.
Yeah. So I think just listen to yourself more and make your own decisions.
Okay, and then before I seg into the next one that I want to ask you, but that just reminded me as I was reading this book, it was like Alan Carr, it's like the easy way to quit different things. It was one, is smartphone, dumb phone. That was really good. But then he said something, and I'm like, oh my God, this makes total sense. They're like, do you know, like, so if you think about, since you were a baby, other people's thoughts, ideas, and everything have been put in your head. So your religion, usually geographically, where you were born, that helps dictate it. Your parents, you're given your food, so you're taught what to eat, how to eat for the longest time. We're telling you what to think, how to think. In school, you're always being taught something else, and then but those people are learning it from other people, just like, cigarettes were advertised and cool. Now we definitely know that they kill you and they're bad, but what people are taught and shown are almost always other people's ideas gained from other people.
Yeah.
And to then go back to trust yourself. But then also, there's, critical thinking when people are like, smart and educated, all these different ways. Like, okay, also believe those people too, if they're credible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting little mind.
It is.
Squirrel right there.
It's because it is, and my family, my hometown's New York, and my whole family's from there. So they still have that mindset of, we tough, we don't take shit. New Yorkers don't take shit. And I'm like, Mom, I was just there. They love everyone. Like, they're super nice. They don't have attitudes. Your attitude is not because you're from New York. And I think it's so fun. I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer talk about that, and I was like, that's my fucking family. Like, how does he talked about this how many years ago, and I'm just listening to this, and it's exactly right, because you think that you're from a certain place, that you have to just be that, or acknowledge that. I don't know. It's just what they've been taught.
Until you question it, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, we're Italians. We're proud. Okay, well, I'm taught to be a proud Italian, and if you don't break out of that box, if you don't see what it's like to be a proud Australian or proud, something or other, then you get to see all these different cultures. And, that's one thing that just makes it tough is blame, I think, right now in the world is, well, if this person wouldn't have done this, and if this wouldn't have started here, again, depending on the news place that you're listening to, it's going to have a different start. So you don't even really know where it started. And
it's not solution focused when
that's
you're
what I'm
placing
saying.
blame.
That's all I'm saying. Like, whatever. Again, I'm not going to argue with you if you're like, it started here. Okay, it started there. But when will it end? Where's it going to end? And again, you're so busy fixated on this and that, and that's just not my mindset, and doesn't like to be around those types of mindset.
Yeah.
So.
And I get that way too. People just get in this like circle, and it's not problem solving-esque. I mean, not that you can't like bitch for a second just to like
Please,
get it out.
that's very
you know?
healthy to do that.
Yeah.
But
But when you stay stuck in the bitch,
yeah, I see it in a lot of people that I care for, just in certain part of their lives. Not even just with the COVID stuff. It's you know, and it's just when you're aware to it and you acknowledge it and you're like, and you have your own thought process and you have your own beliefs, it's just the stupidest, silliest shit to hear, that you're just like, well, no, if this motherfucker would have done this and then this wouldn't have happened. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, like if you're going through something terrible, like, yeah, if that person wouldn't drank and then drove that car, I completely understand. Because
Sure,
there
sure,
are, again, stuff that we talked about.
It's for reals.
That is for real, yeah. But, you know, again.
But to argue over, like,
yeah,
politics all
again,
day
yeah,
long,
politics
you know?
and blaming China or blaming this person or that person. It's just, you know, again, just stop and remember that we're all going through this, and that we all, you know, need a little bit more love, and that you blaming someone is just not really doing anything to the person you're blaming, because they don't know about that. It's really just taking the love out of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just what I believe. So
that's for reals
yeah,
too.
and hey, I blame the shit out of people all the time, so I'm not sitting up here high and mighty. It's just the more that I get to say it and get to talk about it, the more that I get to live that and not be like, well, no, if you would have done a better job, then this shit wouldn't have happened, type of thing, because that just puts people in such a great, not a great mindset, and, you know, especially with kids and older people telling kids that. So, you
That's
know,
for sure.
and not even telling kids that, but showing that part of them. Yeah, well, if these assholes, and then a kid is just sitting there, like, kind of looking up, figuring it out, who's an asshole, what happened, and then it's, you know, then they start putting their own stuff together, and then it's like just a mini that person, you know, which I don't know.
Sometimes not good. Don't want to double it up.
Sometimes not good. Sometimes not so good. So, but we all have the ability to change. Again,
I mean, that's the best you can do, is just learn and grow. Because everybody, we were talking before on this book I read, Insight on Self-Awareness by Tasha Eurich. Super good. Yeah, it talks about all the different people there. But, you know, when you just, like, everybody's got a blind spot. Like me too, there's probably some shit I'm doing that somebody else is bitching about.
100%. Yeah.
And then when I find out, I'll be in denial first. And then I'll maybe see it, and then hopefully I will change it if it's not good, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love how there's always that little bit of, you know, scaredness, I guess, at first, to where it's just like that person you really care about sees you and they're just like, well, you know, can I tell you what I see? And then you're just like,
How dare you?
Yeah.
Fuck off. Wait, really?
how dare you? But yeah, please tell me. And then you got to think about it for a second, and maybe you do get a little mad, but initially it's like, just come to terms, like, fuck, I do that. Okay, I do that. Let me just get to changing it. Let me just try to be better about it, type of thing.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, I do that too. Like, nobody likes hearing bad news about themselves. Like,
Yeah.
nobody does. What keeps people in that is, like, maybe like a little bit of shame underneath or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. And then once you get through that, like, most people, I would say, like, because everybody's going to do something to mess up, but most people really care that you acknowledge it, apologize for it, and change behavior.
Right.
And then we're all cool because shit's just going to happen,
Yeah.
you know?
You're exactly right.
And then it's when it gets into that denial that people are like, no. And then everybody's like, you're just like not even fixing.
Yeah. I can't, I don't talk to walls, so I won't talk to people who won't break their walls down. You know what I mean? Like, I will to try and help.
That's super good advice.
Yeah, I will try to help, but if you literally are just telling me, like, no, this is my wall, like, won't be anything that can help, then
Good luck with that.
yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go help someone who's willing to, you know, and it's hard to stare at themselves. You know, I know that, like, ego works both ways, and there is a part, you know, that people like to feel, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. And it's like, okay, well, I accept that, but, like, just know that you did this and, like, try to make a change. And then for whatever reason, they continue to do that because they know that, like, the sympathy is gonna, but then that's just, you know, something else. So
And then that's not really sorry.
it's
Sorry is
not
changed
at all. It's
behavior
the
always.
ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, oh, I'm just gonna manipulate this person and say that. But so, yeah, I don't know. Those times where I've been truly sorry in my life have definitely, like, whether it's to myself or just to people that I've done wrong to, which we all have, you know, and
Everybody.
it's really like, it's hard, but if you just talk about it and acknowledge in meditation or in practice or in a support group of, you know, that you did wrong shit, like that really just makes the road to get better a little bit easier. Because again, just like right there, it's like, okay, I know I did this, it sucks, I fucked up. Let's just get it on. Let me get on to not to throw it away and say, okay, let me just get this over with. No, it's like, let me move on and let me try to heal and try to like fix this, because time heals as well. But let me start to do my own work to not be in this shitty position where I feel these shitty emotions again.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now this next question, I think I stole it from Tim Ferriss, or I listened to it on his podcast, or somebody else, but I'm going to ask you, is like, what if you had your, your 50-year-old self tell you something, what do you think?
Man, my 50-year-old self. To not waste time. And to not waste time as in, if you need to rest, it's your time to rest. And, you know, if you need to be doing something and learning something, then just don't waste your time, type of thing. So, we're all adults. So we have, I think, a pretty good scale of what we should be doing. And I don't like to say that, what we should be doing, but it's like, what we love to do. That's how I like to say it. You know, don't waste your time on what you love to do, because when you are 50, I hope I still have everything that works, you know, correctly and in a great way. But you never know what time brings you, so don't waste any of your talent or your time, or, you know, and just be kind, because the feelings of being kindness mean so much to me, and the feelings of being like a shitty person and not doing good weigh heavy on me, and it's probably still stuff that I'm trying to let go of in my own practice. So yeah, be kind and keep moving.
That's a good one too. And then also that's too, like, because we've all had our shitty moments, and I've got a collection of them, especially from when I was younger. I was kind of a little mean kid. Oh, since you're I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you? And
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I promise I'm not just faking now. I mean it.
yeah, and that's the thing, is sometimes I think people get held down to. There's a book called Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. It's super freaking good. It's years old now, but he says one thing in there that I really held on to, and I used to tell my clients this too, is nobody is ever the worst thing they've ever done.
Wow.
And I think that sometimes people, or at least myself, like, and you don't know until you dig deep. Because I think until you do a little bit of self-work, like I was just flying blind and like, oh, that was a bump. I don't know why that happened. You know, drink
Yeah,
more. And then
yeah.
you're like, whoa, who's driving? But you aren't. Like, even if you did something else, so I would have in my head, you know, you got to be a good little boy or a good little girl when you do bad, you know, probably have a lot of stuff wrapped up in it, like, I'm not good because I did these things, or I'm
Yeah.
a bad person.
Yeah.
But you're not I mean, some people may be bad people, but most people, like, we've all done bad things, but you're not a bad person based on a couple things in your life if you've actively tried to make better. You know what I mean? Or even maybe you didn't know then, like, I can't go apologize to this chick for my 5th grade thing, and I was in the 5th grade too. Not saying that that's a whole excuse, but it is 11 years old, you know?
Right.
But to just consciously do better.
Yeah, consciously do better. And I think for me, there's moments that come up, whether it's, you know, like those guilty times or those happy times. And I just try to sit with the emotion, and I ask, I'm like, why does this come up, as opposed to, you know, why am I thinking about this shit? And then just going back to what you're doing, you know, kindness.
That's a good question.
It always starts with you. So just, you know, be kind with yourself. These things are coming up because there's something that you should know or hear about or deal with. And, you know, again, it could be anything from the one that's coming up in my head right now is calling a poor girl in 7th grade fat. And I remember I would, you know, that would be our thing. And then I would lie about it when she would tell on me. And it's like, why do we do that? And, I don't know if it's because we see movies and that happens, or, if again, like, we're all human and we're guilty of it. We're all guilty of doing that at some point in our
And
life.
somebody's making you feel bad, and you're like, I got to pass that down and make somebody else feel bad too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's even worse. I think that's where the bad people get created, is when it's actually meaningful to do that, where their parents are doing that on purpose, and then
because there are people that are calculatedly mean.
Yeah, I saw,
unfortunately.
I know, I don't even want to get into it, but yeah.
Just avoid those people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smell the danger,
Yeah.
turn left or right away from them.
Yeah, a good way is to turn the news off or get off of Facebook, because that's what I was about to share. I think somebody, I see this all the time where people comment and they truly want to help. Like, the initial post is something kind of on the edge of, like, like, energetically, it's like I could feel it already, and it's like, well, that's just like a harsh post. And then I could see the other, like, people commenting like, oh, well, what is this you're talking about? I'd like to help. And then the person who wrote the initial text is just like, well, if I can help you, you're stupid, so and so. And it's just like, these people are trying to help you, and you're going off and, like, now talking shit. So I don't like to look at that or be on there anyway, because it is just like a big throw up of, look at my shit, I'm fucking pissed, or this is what I'm doing, cool, and whatever. I don't know. That's just, yeah. So again, it's like, if you're on there, why are you on there if you're not going to support people?
Okay, we got to wrap up now. So where can everybody find you?
Oh, man.
Everywhere else.
Well, as much as I hate it, you can find me on Facebook. I'm never really on there, though. So you can find me on Instagram, Sean_Yogi Beers. I'm working on a website and YouTube channel and all that good stuff right now. And you can find me at Uptown Yoga. I have content online. You can find me at Breathe, Mind and Body online. I have lots of content, meditations, sound meditations as well. Dallas Yoga Center, Zoom classes. You can pay for packages there, and V12 IG Live. So hopefully we'll be back in studio soon. And any questions, let me know. Love you guys.
Cool. And I will put all your links to whatever's you get in the show notes. And I'm so excited to see people's.
Yeah, me too.
And for all of you listening, you know that there is always another way.